Billy, thanks for joining us. First of all, I'm going to take you right back to the very start of the season, even before the season began. How difficult was it to kind of get players back into condition and things like that following the long layoff?
Well, that's probably the hardest part of it, because you've got boys that have been out, most of them best part of 18 months. You want guys coming back at pre-season fit. Pre-season isn't to get players fit, so it was one of the biggest tasks, and because we had kind of a compressed window as well to get them fit, it was tough. But to be fair to the guys, boy, they buckled down and they get in about it. There was no pre-season's tough for everyone. It's not the most pleasant time for anybody that's played. And even for us, you're trying to mix the fitness and the games, the level of games you're trying to select. But to be fair, being honest with that, the boys were great, weren't they?
Most were fit anyway. Most of the players they came fit, so a few that didn't, but we soon got ourselves into shape, and it didn't take too long. But the old days are getting fit, your pre-season's changed, they get fit and they come fit, because we really know here to get them fit, and that's really doing to them in it. Well, so it was tough at the start, because just to try to get players in. Players that you want to keep on away elsewhere, want to go elsewhere, but lucky enough the ones we wanted to keep wanted to come and stay, so and it's turned out no bad enough.
It's a massive decision, when Paul and I made that decision with the committee then to take us out of the division. It was primarily due to safety. We were away down at Beath, that was the last game we played down at Beath, and the boys were getting changed in the stand. It was chucking in the rain, we couldn't get to the toilet. That's right.
A couple of days later.
It wasn't right. When I spoke to the SFA and I said, look, we can't guarantee, I'll ask the question, can you guarantee the management team, the committee, the players' safety? No. I said, well, we can't continue. It's just no right, it's no safe, and it was at its peak around about that time, as you know. So, I still stand by the decision that we made, as much as it was tough, and it was always our intention to, as soon as we got the go-ahead, to start again and keep the ball rolling again. David came in when the club itself was struggling. And kept it afloat, kept it ticking over. For that, the club's indebted to Davy for that. Then from a football perspective, we were football guys. The rest of it, it might run alongside it. But first and foremost, we get the players, we get them fit, we put them together, we try our best. So, from that perspective, we were always comfortable we were going to get back in. But having boys come back into you, best part of 18 months, and some of them, some of the younger ones, obviously a lot lighter, a lot slimmer, don't carry a lot of body fat, so they were there or thereabouts. One or two others who, through no fault of their own, some of them actually weren't overly well. They'd had COVID and they struggled with their work, they weren't working, and all of that, from a mental health perspective, plays on the players, as well. Some of them had been out the game working as well, so you've got them back into the football environment, and as I say, I think from that perspective, their attitude's been exemplary. We've had very, very few problems. We've had a couple gone away, haven't we? Dane things here and there, but
it's been
alright.
Been pretty good. Early years we've had major headaches, but no, been good. Pre-season games were no bad, good, no great, happy but I'm doing, and then we've just kicked on for it. I think that maybe even a shots game were terrible, but it's maybe gives a wee kick in the bum, and we've come on for that. So that's down to Keegan and myself now, the goalie. So these guys have done really well for us, and the boys have been brilliant in the last 8 to 10 games.
Absolutely.
We can't fault them.
You're going to bring guys of the stature, the goalie and Keegan Parker, who's experiencing. To be fair to Keegan, this is his first coaching role. He's doing official as player coach, and he allows us to mental, trying to get time in the park every week. But
sends you videos, his
how fit he is, and what weight he is, and so. But that in itself is brilliant. He's got that attitude, he's still got that hunger there, and that hunger, gets cascaded onto the players. But we've picked up some injuries, as all teams will do, but
we've dealt with them. There's plenty of players. We've got 2 players for 20s can come in and the squad, or 2 or 3. A couple we've seen they're really good, so they'll fit in the ball. And we've got 4 or 5, maybe even more, 6 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds. They're as good as anybody.
It's a key point, it's not something that Paul and I were talking about it the other night about, how much time do you spend, going and watching 20s and 19s and 20s, and not a lot's the answer, because I don't think the level was there to step in, so you didn't spend a lot of time. You kind of spent most of your time looking at other clubs or watching other players, or with your contacts you had. But that's kind of changed this year for us, and I think the team itself are reaping benefits. You've got a couple of young boys who went straight in, and young Jay and Scott, and you wouldn't take them out of the team.
Nah,
You just wouldn't. So
I mean, you've kind of touched on it there. With the players that have come in, they've obviously, you named some of them, Scott, Jay, some of them have done very well and actually staked a claim and cemented their position, really. How do you see that other players can follow?
They can do the exact same as them. I wouldn't think Scott scored the goals he has, I wouldn't think Jay would have
had the performances.
would have been in the team every week, and now you would be worried if he had a niggle. So young Tony Hampson and was it Lewis
Slavinsky?
Two right good players. I've seen them that last week, and they're more than capable of coming on or coming into the team. So there's plenty of room for other guys if we do watch these teams a bit more now.
Of course we do.
And something probably should have done a while ago. Started a few more youth teams, and we probably had maybe more young guys in the team. But sometimes you would just go with guys that you know. But nah, that's changed now, so youth players will be getting a chance. So just to tell the youth boys to stick in, and we'll give them a chance. We're only caring what age here. There's Big Ben Richards, 18-year-old, great player.
Young Jamie.
Jamie Pratt, 19. Scott's only 20. Jay's 20. So they're all good, these boys. And to see if you're kind of maybe about 4 boys in their 30s and
Good mix.
3 or 4 in their late 20s, and quite a few young ones, aren't there? 18 to 22, 23, so it's a good mix.
Yeah, we try and get that mix between youth and experience, and anybody that's watching this will understand what we're saying about the spine of your team's got to be right, and we've got a real quality goalkeeper, centre halves. We lost young Lee who came in, unfortunately with injury as well. We played up at Thornwood, so we've lost him since week 2, week 3.
He's doing really well.
But you've got Tony in the middle, you've got
Ryan
Stewart, you've got Scott, you've got Gale. So you look at the spine of the team, fantastic. But you go to the flanks with Gary, Jay, tremendous. You couldn't genuinely take these boys out. Paul's touched on something, and a bit of recognition to the guys, that are supporting this club with the teams around us. We came and watched the game on Monday night. 3 or 4 of our players were getting a wee bounce game. That guy put that game on to get us a bounce game for our players, and we've not had that support before. And then we said after it, look, maybe need a couple of bodies right away. Him. Paul and I's clocked them right away. That's the 2. We've got no problem. Put them into the squad. We've never had that benefit of that before. So from that perspective, it's working.
As I say, good boys running it. Ryan Mackey, 21's good boy. Stevie Owens, smallest feet in Cambuslang, size 2s.
Only steal your boots.
Stevie's done well enough.
Absolutely.
Came in for Blatter Soccer Academy, and he's got a right good wee team, and he's got a lot of good players, and he's really good wee Stevie. So fair play to him to point out a couple of players, and he's been right with them. So
recognition to the boys, because it's not always an easy task to, and everyone's come to us every time they get a bit of success we take them, so that's not how it works. We're trying to work with them, you know what I mean, but their job is development, our job is to development as well. You might get 1 or 2 and they'll remain nameless, but we're getting chased with other clubs just now, senior clubs, phoning us and whatnot for a couple of contacts, which it's great, but it gives you a problem, because you're certainly not going to hold the boys back, but we've got games to win, and so it puts you under a bit of pressure from that perspective.
And of course there's obviously some players that have already moved on to some senior clubs as well.
There's an opportunity there to come here. Obviously it's senior football now, so they're kind of at a senior club now, but they're not going to stop guys from going at a good level, but we know when they're ready. The player might think he's ready, but we know what guys are ready and what guys aren't. More than half the teams played senior, and more than half the team could go back senior. I could name half a dozen now, but as I say, the young boys, when it's time to go, we'll let them go. But the new we'll be staying here now.
It's difficult trying to keep the spotlight off them, because as soon as your amateur live mob get hold of them and whatnot, and they're trying to do their job, so they're looking at real pluses. You've got all sorts of people contacting us that have never really contacted us before when you're in mid-tables and whatnot. But that's what, and you're talking about success. We've not done anything. We've won half a dozen games. We're talking to the boys other night, and the good thing is the young boys come in with no fear, right? So you don't really need to put money. They'll come in and they'll play against some Cardiffs, or they'll play against the Gartcanes, or play against the New Mains. It's a game, it's irrelevant who you're playing. You get into the Scottish Cup. The Scottish Cup, the stature of the Scottish Cup for this club, and Paul and I spent a lot of time explaining, where this club is, the Hall of Fame for the SFA, with the SFA, with the exploits in the Scottish Cup. There's no other junior club there. We need to explain all that because they don't know nothing about it. So, and I spent a bit of time with Jim and 3 times talking about what it means to that, what that tournament means to us. So we spent 10 minutes explaining this to these guys, and you can see them looking, going, "It's not me, I've not even heard that for this." I was in Bournemouth when you were winning that. So the mix is good, but you've just got to try and keep your feet on the ground, and explain to them, look, nothing's won in August. So don't be thinking you've done the job's done, because it's absolute. You're going to lose the next 3 or 4. You're back in the open division, and we've been there. You've been up and down and up. I think the league, the one we won, maybe we lost the first 4 games or something. The season we won the division. So you need to get a nose. Daddy's taking a game at a time, but that's what it is. It genuinely is, because you can lose 2 players with injury, 2 key players, and then all of a sudden you're struggling.
The midweek fixtures have obviously kind of come to an end, and how do you feel that's going to benefit the side in terms of coaching and more training?
Well, at least you can train twice a week now and work on things a bit more. Obviously, you're not going to get as many bookings, as many suspensions, as many injuries, because it's 1 game a week instead of 2. So you can imagine a Saturday you've got 2 or 3 bookings a Sunday and a half, but you kind of times that with 2 there's 2 games a week, and Gordon Dick's missed 2 games or 1 game already, so he's been a big miss. But again, you just need to watch your it wasn't like a bad tackle, but they're kind of clamping down now, so it'll help us with players not being suspended or injuries or any daft bookings that can gather up. So we're quite happy there. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Yourself, it was down at Shettleston, that was a great big crowd, and Ardere and all that, and we won the games.
So it was good when you're winning.
But it was really good winning the games, and I did quite enjoy them. But obviously they've came to an end, and
been some tough places, with the run that we had from the start. We had Shettleston, Greenock, Ardere, all Wednesday night games. They're tough games to go to. Best of them, never mind the Wednesday night. You're away down to Ardere. I think all of us were late, me included. Stuck names, whatever it is, 77, trying to get down there in time, and guys come for their work. And if you don't have them full time, you struggle with midweek stuff. So we're really pleased, and also we're trying to keep a lid on it and keep, Thornwood as well.
Greenock was a Saturday.
Greenock's a Saturday.
Especially off the long layoff, as we kind of discussed earlier. Boys, not playing football for so long,
and then playing 3 a week.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, and we've actually rested them. We've had a couple of sessions where we train Monday, Wednesday. We've actually had a couple of sessions where we said take Monday off.
Get a wee rest, because it's a lot of games. But listen, it's worked okay
so far.
Hopefully that helps us in that question you were asking, and as I said, we can concentrate. The good thing with the 2 games was a lot of guys were maybe now and then other guys were getting a wee chance of getting a game in that, but that is what it is. If you keep winning, it's hard to change your team. So at the moment the team's kind of been similar for the last good 3 games.
So probably only 1 or 2 players were changing. The team's picking itself.
The boys have not been really good, and as I say, we've had a lot of players down here in the past, and they've been hard work, a lot of guys, but these guys are really any mystery.
It's really enjoyable.
Unless it's work, and maybe just doesn't turn up before. He's not turned up. No reason why. So it's pretty enjoyable. It's great when you keep winning. It's enjoyable.
I think as well that it's been noticeable that there's a real kind of camaraderie between all the players. After games, they're kind of all going and enjoying themselves.
But a learning curve for the young team as well, because I think the first league game the boys told them what to turn up shirt and ties, you know, where the schoolboys, so they all turned up shirt and ties. You know, because it's the first league game, then you know, so stuff like that gets them all together, you know what I mean, and there's a fine for everything, you know what I mean. I think me and Paul are doing about $6,000 now, you'd hit you a fine for everything, you know what I mean, whatever, the big list of them, so it's, you're right, you know, that we've had a lot of teams, Paul and I together have had a lot of teams, and separately a lot of teams with us, and for us, we were talking about it last night at training, it's enjoyable when you're winning it, it's going to be more enjoyable because that puts that, that makes it worthwhile.
No, it's been, the fans have been good enough, it's been,
you know,
you get
really smiling on their face.
And that's pretty good, that kind of puts a smile on
Saturday,
the face, because
it's just tough, it's
getting a good wee crowd down here, and we're winning, and we're a good team, we're probably good to watch and all, we can score goals, and I think we're pretty good to watch. I enjoy watching us, and that's a wee while since I've enjoyed watching.
We've had some new guys come down as well, you know, friends of yours that they've been lucky to watch the 8-1s and 8-2s and blah blah blah, and I've seen this every week, and you think,
she was,
but and they say, well, it's sending offs and goals, and
but we're not getting carried away. There's only a quarter of the season gone, there's hard games, there's the winter coming up, players are different in the winter, the ball players are playing on a mucky park, it's totally different, so but we may need to add some players for day conditions and but at the moment we're happy with what we've got,
okay.
And as I say, top league, if you told us that, would you take it?
After match day one?
Aye, after match day one.
You win the next 7?
I thought we were a wee bit lucky with that first game. Maybe a draw would have been a fair result. A wee error, with my opinion, that the referee, I think in no bad game, the guy actually, but he didn't see it, so it's hard to give him a hard time if he didn't see it, so he put his arm, I didn't see it. Fine.
So it's one of the aspects where that's to kind of re-educate the older players, to be fair, you know, with the guys that used to play with linesmen and whatnot around.
Well, we did speak to him a bit before it, there's no linesmen.
Just be careful what you're doing.
Unfortunately for us, he missed a goal, it was a goal, but I think he was fairly honest to say that I didn't see it.
Which just seems too far away.
At least giving an answer is great, but the referee's been okay.
I think you say that, you know, even the games that they've made, maybe a glaring mistake, they've actually a decent game. We've said that to them, like, you know, you think you made a mistake, yeah, it's a good game, you know, let they slaughter the guys, you know. I wouldn't do it, you know, so.
It's a hard task.
Thanks.
But no, as I say, but we're happy where it's going now, so, but it's a long season, and we're not getting carried away, definitely.
And Paul, you kind of touched on one of the points that I wanted to make was about the supporters, and how good is it to have had that sort of reception?
I used to watch, maybe go to Paul up and that and see them all clapping the players on and off. It's really good to watch, and it's
such a difference.
And we've been getting that, and it's really good. Last week, I don't know, 150, 200 stone full, bit of rain started off, and Clapham boys came off. It was really good for us and the players, and the players are enjoying that, and the fans are buying stuff, buying season tickets, spending money. So it's great. We're really happy with fans, you know what I mean. So as I say, they've always been decent fans, but it's been a wee while since we've had a team that's clapped and that's good, and it's the way the boys, it's credit to the players, the way they're playing, so you're not going to clap a team up, they're doing terrible, really, so fair play, do you know what I mean, but fans have been really good, and it's good to come up to you, and it's always good to say, oh well, you're doing well, brilliant, it's good to hear, do you know what I mean.
Good thing, the fans will feed off of performances, that's it, you know what I mean, they're there to be entertained, and you know, I think...
Listen, they pay decent money, and they go away and they buy a tap, and buy this, buy that.
And you've also seen them kind of coming to away games and things like that as well.
Shilson game was brilliant, man.
Yeah, that's probably off the back of those performances.
I just remember the Shilson game, they could have been easily near enough everyone was your fans, and maybe Shilson 20-30 bodies in the rest. Really good. So we've got a lot of young boys and their pals are coming along, and then their dads and that, and it's adding up. And obviously with the goalie here, which maybe helps a wee bit and all. So that's really good to see the fans clapping us and enjoying it, which is great.
So I just want to ask you both a question about what you think has been the team's best performance so far this season.
What game?
What game, yeah. So I'll start with you, Paul.
What game? I probably, let me think, I'm trying to see who we've actually I would pick the Renfrew game for the fact we excuse me, we got a man sent off fairly quick. They got a goal, it probably shouldn't have been a goal, and we knuckled down for, I don't know, 70 minutes for me. And have we played better? Aye, but on
With the circumstances?
the circumstances, a Gordon getting sent off, which in my opinion I didn't think was a sending off. That game sticks me because I think Renfrew will beat a lot of teams, and I thought they've got good players, but we just stopped them. As soon as Gordon was sent off, we just got a grip of the game and we ended up obviously winning 4-1. So I'm personally that one, not our best performance, no, but just to win the game the way we won it, I'd pick that one personally.
And Bill?
I wouldn't be far off of that, mate. You're right. You know, the way they, you know, and even the good thing is when, you know, when you get to half time, they know what they need to do. You know, you just make sure they keep the head, don't lose any of their bodies. You know, stick to the game plan. We know you can play. We know you've got the fitness. We know you've got the recovery. You just keep doing it. You know, and Renfrew does stick out. Another one that I was really pleased with was Greenock away. Greenock away is always the most tough place to go. You know. We know the manager well down there. You know,
probably should have won that game a wee bit more.
Maybe, but you know, it's one of the ones you come off to, and you're thinking, take that, you know, because that's a tough place to go.
5 minutes.
Aye.
Of half time, extra time. Then it was another fight. I don't know what it came from, but
20 minutes extra time.
That was that was definitely.
It's a big game.
Another one. If I was to pick two, that'd have been it, because that was a tough day there.
And it's always a hard place to go to Greenock, you know, and it's usually the weather's usually horrific. And it wasn't bad that day, to be fair, but
maybe
I thought they dug in. I thought they dug in.
Went the wrong way.
So you did, aye. And they got polished that enough, to be fair, for the next event.
No, it's a good point. That would be just behind the Renfrew one for me.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Yeah, I remember obviously the team's reaction to that as well, where, you know, they all came off and they were all...
They're high.
Yeah. Brilliant. Up and stone. He's got his wee 3 man in a match awards, whatever he got, and that was good for him. He's a young boy. He's one of the boys that scores, and he's as if he scored in the World Cup, which is good to see.
He loves scoring, man.
But there are two important games, and there's other games we've played better and scored more goals, but to get the 3 points in each game in their circumstances, really good.
I think that's maybe what the fans are feeding on as well, with regards to how much we keep harping on about their work rate and non-possession. Phenomenal. You know, and you don't need to educate it. That's something now that you know we've drummed into them.
They're just there.
They just go on it, you know. And so we're just tweaking and changing, and you know, maybe if we change formation, go 3 at the back, and you go back to 4. Other than that, they have the quality to go and play. They know their jobs. You don't tell the left back how to play left back. You don't tell the centre half to hold a high line or to step out and take them up. They know what they're doing, and that for us is a real joy. And you can see, you know, I know it's maybe because you're winning and it will be playing a huge part, but they're enjoying the football.
You don't really need to constantly tell them what to do.
No, it's great.
They know the game. Really, guys like McColl, 2 wingers.
Tony.
These guys know how to play the game. We just gear them up a wee bit.
You touched earlier about the Scottish Junior Cup. How important is a good cup run this season?
Great. It helps get a wee bit of revenue, which helps a lot, and it's good for morale to get Scottish Cups. They're going to Hampden, do you know what I mean? I've not been to Hampden in the cup final, so it's a long way off for anything like that, but Cambuslang have won the Scottish Cup several times, and that's what they're known for, and the Hall of Fame for it. So that's why me and Billy wanted to enter it again. A lot of teams aren't entering it, but I mean, can't beat a Scottish Cup on a away day or so. It's great, and it's a great cup. And as I say, if you're lucky enough to get to Hampden, what a day that would be. I've watched me in a final. And it's great to watch, and you're saying I wish that was us one day. So I enjoy the cup, any cup really, but the Scottish is a bit a special one.
Bit of prestige. So.
Aye, definitely. And say it's good for fans and all. Listen, we've done well in the last round there. Next round's Rossville away, which is a difficult game because they're on no bad run. But listen, I'm fairly confident we can go up and win the game. I'm no overconfident, but we've got the team to do it, so, but it will be a hard game because they're pretty decent.
They'll step up in levels, yeah. And you know, the Scottish Cup for the fans is brilliant. You know, it's not better as well. Take some buses up, getting the boys on the bus, going away for the, you know, just great. You know, it's a break for the league pressures of the league, should we say, if they carry pressure, because they play like they don't. We deal with that side of it but then you look to your well, that gives us a wee break at the league this week. We can go maybe play one or two other players and give players a chance, or change the goalkeeper and give the big man a shot, you know, stuff like that. Where if you're on a run in the league, you don't tend to change that just to give players. You can't do that. As long as, you know, we think we've got the quality there, we're putting players in, they'll be just as good as what we're taking.
Definitely, there's guys on the bench that could just step into the team, and these two young under-20s and all. Listen, there's other under-20s that are probably good enough.
Absolutely.
They two just kind of stuck out for me, so, but there'll be chances for other guys, but I mean, these two boys could easily step into our team and do okay, so, but the question you had, the Scottish good cup, and we enjoy it. We're glad we entered that again. So,
do you see any differences in terms of the professionalism of other clubs, and now that it's changed from a junior status to a senior status? Or?
It's no like, I'll be honest, straight around, it's no like, probably a better quality player. I've noticed that. But the new we're still changing the stands and all that, so it's kind of difficult to see
to gauge
what other teams have done. So we're making a go at our change rooms, and I'd imagine other teams are doing the same. But I must admit, players wise, teams have got better players, and obviously there's teams going, I've thrown a wee bit of money at this, and we'll try and go that league, take it that league, and probably quality wise, players wise, but it's difficult. Younger players are not, a lot of young players coming through.
Good quality.
Quality wise, definitely, but obviously we've really been in the changing rooms to see, we've done that, spent that money.
Still a bit surreal,
so, but still, we're getting there. Do you know what I mean? It's, hopefully soon we'll be able to use changing rooms and that. I think you can in some parks, but if huge changing room to use it, I think.
So risk assessment's falling.
But it's improved standard wise. I would think so.
Still a bit difficult for us preparation, to be honest with you. You know, you've got shirts, you know, hanging over the band, then the wind's blowing them out of place, and you're trying to then, you know, on Saturday was quite interesting because we put in all the fans because it's raining, so we're trying to change them stand. The fans are sitting beside us, and you know they're hearing first hand us having a go at the boys, but you know, so we're having to take them out in the middle of the park to talk to them. But you know, as I said, it doesn't look as if it's done us any harm, but from that perspective, it's a wee bit unsettled. You know, at the start of it, you know, with the way it is, but it's everybody's boxes, everybody's having to do the same thing.
So it's been working in the house, so
no complaints.
I'm actually like the stuff now, but we've run a good wee run, so let's just keep it that way. But quality wise, the players and other teams have definitely improved. Do you know what I mean? So a couple of teams that weren't great,
they've
changed
that.
They've got good players in their teams now, and they're no like walkers anymore. Like even Deer were quite a low base team, or second bottom, third bottom, but fair play, they've changed their team.
Great start, better start than them.
They've done well. So the standards decent now, a wee bit better than it was. So fair play the new setup.
When you talk about the teams, the standard of teams, you know, Pulling are quite tough on the boys with regards to, you know, if the 3 or 4 of you have a bad day, you lose. No doubt about it. You will get beat, you know, in any of the games. So you just need to make sure they turn up for work every day and go on with it. And they have the quality to deliver it. It's just, you know, they need to make sure they turn up on a day, or you will lose against any of these teams. As everybody else has shown. Okay, we've been lucky enough to go on a wee run, but everybody else is customers and gets points and results. You know, we maybe a bit luckier than everyone else, but we'll work for it, you know, so it's very easy to go the other way and be criticised. So whilst it's going well, we're happy with it, you know.
And obviously, as the kind of summer months tail off, or approaching the winter and, you know, autumn time, how confident are you two that, you know, you can retain those standards of how well the team's been doing so far?
I don't think it'll change the way we play. You know, what it does is it changes your preparation. If you're playing heavy parts, it maybe change your structure, maybe change the team, the players that you're in the positions, whatnot. Because the young boys, you know, on AstroTurf or on a bowling green, their fly machines put them into up to their ankles in mud. And on Wednesday night, you know, it might be a different game entirely. You know, where they can't get a ball at their feet and they get launched. You know, so you need to just review it.
You can always add a couple of different style players and to suit that. But the new we're happy with the guys we've got.
Structure's great.
We don't really think we need to add them to the new, but it's a good question because it can change, and that just means guys that are quite playing now, that could be
Their opportunity.
a wee jump on for them. They could maybe get in these games and a wee bit different and a wee bit more robust on a mucky park. So, but good question. It's something that obviously it will change a wee bit.
It's a different environment in winter, absolutely. You're aligned, you're getting for your work, chucking it in the rain, get out, hopefully we're maybe in the changing rooms, but then we get showers and whatnot, because that was one of the things that we struggled with. The guys were going away with laterally we'd leave them with the strips, so they're going away with the strips trying to get changed.
It's difficult, but
it's just hygienic wise, it's from health and safety perspective, it just wasn't right. So hopefully as this eases, we'll maybe get us in a better predicament with regards to showers and change facilities and whatnot. But you just go, mate, everybody's doing the same thing. The opposing team comes, you go, you're on that side of the stand, we go, you're on that side of the stand, and nobody complains about it. We're just pleased to be playing,
Yeah. And obviously, this weekend, we've just had word that the game is obviously postponed. What are the plans for this weekend now that game's not going ahead?
Vegas, I think, isn't it?
Probably. 4 days.
We'll probably give the guys a rest because they've been working hard. There've been a lot of games. A couple of young boys want to probably go out and whatever, all the stuff for the day. But we'll have the full week of training this week, so we'll have the Monday, Wednesday. So it's disappointing the game's known, we're on a good run, but if it's COVID, and these guys, hopefully the guys that are okay, and then obviously the game will go back on another date. Then we've 2 home games and an away game in the next 3 weeks, so we're looking forward to next week. But they'll give them a wee rest on Saturday, let them enjoy their day with their families. Me and Billy can do everything hanging on, and then Monday we'll train them, and then Wednesday we'll look forward to Roy Albert, small team, used to play with him on Saturday. It could be a difficult game for us, it could be a banana skin game, and we had to be with Dorai, and they were pretty
they should have been 2 up at half time, and we made that clear to them, once, exactly what we're talking about. We're more
young team, they were putting it about. I thought they were alright. They done well in the first half, they could have scored a couple of goals, but made a wee word at half time and it turned around. So we'll not take any game for granted.
The games that worry us more, I see the games that you're supposed to win there.
We're happy with 1-0, 2-1.
1-0 or 21-0, just win.
Doesn't matter. Unfortunately we've been scoring a lot of goals. Obviously Scott's been bagging most of them. But there's other guys that are doing a lot of work with the team, so I think Scott knows that. So we'll get Saturday off and Billy might take me for my dinner or something.
So what are the kind of hopes and expectations for the rest of the season? Is it just to maintain where we're at? Listen,
we want to be up there, that's where we want to be, but we're generally not getting carried away. There's good teams in this league. Cardiff's are a good team, I think they're unbeaten. You've got Gartcairn, you've got a lot of good teams, and we've still played a lot of these teams home and away, so we're not generally not getting carried away, and that's the honest truth. There's 9 league games played, and there's 8 or 9 whatever it is. There's another X amount, 20 or whatever, that more. So there's a lot of game time there.
There'll be a few dips, and it's not all going to be on the gravy train. There'll be a few tough days. So.
But listen, we'll take one game at a time, but we're hoping to be up there near the end of the season. That's our plan.
Desire, yeah.
And if we keep to the standard we're playing now, I don't see any reason why we couldn't be up there. But it's a long season, so hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, a lot of games to go.
Finally, is there a message that you'd like to send to the fans?
Just keep coming, and we've got a lot of young boys, just cheer them on. They're not going to be playing the same way every week. We do that with the players and all. Just don't be too hard on the young boys. They're 4 or 5 of them have just come out under 20 football. So let them learn a wee bit, and just to come and enjoy the game, enjoy after the game. And just as I say, sport's been great, so just keep doing the same thing, keep clapping the players on and off and turning up, and we're all remember it.
We're grateful why it makes such a difference, and Saturday's a prime example. We were talking about it training, and it's amazing.
We enjoy talking to the fans who come up and shake them on. It's brilliant, no? I mean, it's
even then they come up to you a hard time, they come up and shake your hand. It is what it is, you need to deal with that. We've been there for long enough, so
it's more handshakes than it has been the highs or rotten this week.
One or two are hard to please, but that's football, you know. But
we enjoy
it's
it.
great.
We
It's
enjoy
great.
it.
You know, just keep coming.
We enjoyed it, and as I
Thoroughly,
say,
thoroughly enjoy it.
the fans
It's
have been brilliant. So
makes it worthwhile.
as I say, they've spent a few quid, they're buying season tickets, buying tops, buying us and that.
Take to their opinion as well.
Can't praise them enough. And last week was the tournament was excellent.
It was
so
great.
We're really remember that.